Hello everyone and welcome to a tutorial. This tutorial is going to be about how to work on remixes. In this case it's going to be kind of a house remix, which I've been working on quite a while ago. I'm also going to apologize for not making any videos. I mean, my last video was probably more than a year ago, but it's because I haven't been really busy with music production, because I've been busy with looking for a job and whatnot, and also my MIDI keyboard broke down on me, so I didn't have any MIDI keyboard, and for me it's pretty hard to work on music without having a keyboard because I'm very used to playing keys whenever I'm producing. But I've bought a new one recently. I got a job and I made some money and bought myself a new MIDI keyboard. As you can see, a large one with buttons and pads and all that kind of shit. So that kind of got me going again. So anyway, that aside, I'll just give you a quick tutorial and give you maybe some useful tips on how to start working on a remix, or at least how I do it. So I'll let you hear the original track first, and then I'll let you hear my track, and I'll just go through all the details. So I'll just let you hear the most important parts of this track. Okay, that was my track. Okay, anyway. Okay, so that's one pretty important part of the track. And there's also this part at the end, which is just basically an acapella.
You were taken away from my life.
So these are the only parts where I cut some samples out of. So you also kind of have to get lucky, to have this acapella just playing on its own. I mean, you can hear some strings, but there's not any drums, so that's very good material to work with, because if there's drums playing on top of it, you're gonna have a hard time to work with it, or to at least make a new drum beat. Because it's going to interfere. Same story for the first 4 chords. It's just playing on its own, so that's very good material to cut out. So these first 4 chords gave me the idea to do something with this track, because I thought, what if I take these 4 chords, cut it out, and add kind of a house beat on it? I think it's going to sound alright. So let me just show you my small little project here. As you can see, there's not a lot going on, but you'll get the idea of what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so let's make sure everything is turned on. Okay. So I think, it should be pretty clear what I've done here. I just cut out these samples, added a new drum beat, and it sounds pretty cool in my opinion. But let me just go through how I started this, and the cuts that I've made. So, or maybe I'm just going to start with a quick tutorial on how to cut and edit some. Maybe some of you guys don't know how to do it. So you drag in your song, you look for a potential sample that you could use. Let's just use these 4 chords, and you want to zoom in pretty deep so you can make very precise adjustments, because it's pretty important when cutting samples is to be very precise. So we're gonna pinpoint the start of the sample, which should be around here, and the ends of the 4 chords, which is going to be around here. So the reason why this should be as precise as possible is, you're going to cut the sample and then you're going to loop it over and over again. So you want the transition of the start of the sample and the end. The end to the start of the sample has to be as smooth as possible, without any clicks, or the timing has to be right. So we're gonna press this loop button here and just listen if it sounds alright. So as you can hear, it sounds pretty good. So I'll just give you an example of how not to do it. So let's say you want to cut this out, and you just kind of go like this, and you don't really give a fuck. So yeah, obviously this is not going to work. Okay, so try and be as precise as possible. Now, one problem you'll sometimes have is, I'm not having this problem here, but sometimes you'll hear a click when the sample starts over again. Let's see if I can create a problem. So I don't know if you hear that, but I hear a very small click. Okay, so you can get rid of this click by going into this wrench tool, and then you just press declick out and declick in. I just use them both because I'm never really sure where the problem occurs, at the beginning of the sample or at the end, and that should get rid of the click most of the time. As you can hear, the click is gone. Okay, so let me just fix this again. So once you're happy with the sample you've cut it, you're going to press this button and drag it into your playlist, and voila, now you have some material to work with. But the first problem you're probably going to encounter is that it's not going to fit together with whatever tempo you're using. So in my case, I wanted to work on tempo 114 beats per minute. So let me just play the drum groove and the sample that I just cut it, and you'll hear that the timing is not going to be right. Okay, so very easy way to fix this is go into your sample, and you're going to use this button which says MUL. I think it says MUL, yeah, and this way you can stretch it until you think it sounds right with your tempo. And these blocks that you see here and these lines are kind of your guideline. So in this case we have the 4 chords, we have my drum beat, which is 4 blocks long, so it would make sense that these 4 chords would be as long as this. Sometimes it's different if you have a longer sample, but it's just about experimenting a little bit with stretching. So let me just adjust this a little bit more finely. If you press the control button on your keyboard, you can make more precise adjustments with all of these buttons basically. So let me just fix this like this, and let's have a listen. Alright, so now the tempo is right, but as you can hear, the pitch has lowered because we've stretched it out. And sometimes it could sound good if you lower the pitch or higher the pitch, but in this case I wanted to keep the original pitch. So we can easily fix this problem by coming here, and you're gonna press Pro Default. So this is gonna adjust the pitch back to its original pitch, but it's gonna keep the tempo that you've picked, I mean the way you've stretched it. So now it should sound okay. Alright, so that's how you cut a sample and stretch it out. Nothing really too complicated. So let me get rid of this because I already have this, obviously. So it's the same story for the acapella. You know, I just cutted it out, dragged it in, stretched it out, make it fit with my drum beat. Okay, so these are two pretty important cuts that I've made. Also made some shorter cuts as well. I cut out some small percussive sounds out of the original track. So it's also very interesting to do this because you know, if you're using small percussion sounds from the original track, it's always going to fit together with, you know, the other samples you've cut it, because yeah, it's from the same track, so obviously it's going to fit together. So that's exactly what I did. I cut it out, this snare out of the original song, and also this small hi-hat sound also comes from the original track. So also something interesting to do. Then another important thing I did was I cut it out a small piece of bass line out of the original track. So let's see if I can find that piece. So probably something like this. So I cutted that out, and then I EQ'd it, so I only have the bass line, because without the EQ you can still hear the piano on top, but I want to get rid of that, so I just EQ'd all of the mid and high frequencies out, so we only have lower frequencies. So if I turn it on, we just have this bass. And now the cool thing is, with this bass line you can now write new melodies, you know, with your MIDI keyboard or whatever. You can just draw it in. So this is a very interesting way to work, because, you know, I haven't used any other VSTs. I mean, maybe I could in the future, but at this point I'm just using all parts of the original track. So I'm just basically breaking the track apart in small pieces and bits and rearranging it into something new. So that's exactly what I did with the bass line. As you can see here, I just you can do this with all kinds of sounds. You know, if you're sampling out of a song and you hear like a small piano sound or a guitar sound, you can sample it out and you can make new melodies with it. So I think that was one of the coolest things I did, actually, because, you know, just cutting these samples out, you know, it's very easy to do, but I think you know, coming up with this idea to cut a small piece out of the bass line and making a new one, you know, it's pretty cool thing, and it worked out pretty nice. So yeah, it's very good to work this way, because you're working with material that's already sounding good. You know, it's a professionally mastered track, or at least I think it is. So all of these things are not gonna, you're not gonna have to process them too much with EQing, because that's all already done, you know, maybe a little bit so it fits more with your style, but most of the time you're not gonna have to touch on too much. So yeah, I think I just covered everything. Then yeah, the drum beat. Nothing much I can say about the drum beat. I mean, I already showed you in my previous tutorials how to kind of make an arrangement. In my opinion, it's not really hard. It's just about experimenting, trying out some different things until you find something that sounds a little bit catchy. But it's definitely interesting to use percussive sounds from the original track, like the snare. You know, it kind of has the tone, it still has some tones in it, like dun dun dun. Also fits nicely, in my opinion, with the drum beat. And yeah, the kick and stuff like that, these are just things from my own sample library. You know, I just found them somewhere over here between all this stuff. Same for this one and this one. So yeah, pretty basic drum beat. So as you can see, nothing really hard to do. It's just about, you know, listening to a track and like just listening for potential small samples that you could cut out and to rearrange it into something new. So I would advise you to just listen to a lot of different styles of music as well, because any kind of style of music probably has potential to be remixed into something new. It could be rock, you know, hip hop, ambient music, jazz. I think jazz is a very good thing to listen to if you're looking for samples, especially drum samples and stuff like that. Yeah, jazz is definitely something where you're probably gonna find some cool things. So just listen to a lot of music, enjoy listening to it, and just also listen if you can hear anything that you could use to make something else out of it. Right guys, so thanks for watching my tutorial. I hope you learned something from it, and you know, you can always ask me questions in the comments. I'll try and answer most of them. If you have any ideas from me, or to make a new video, you know, if you have a subject, just write it in the comments, and I'll try and make some more videos from now on. So thanks for watching, and see you another time.